Okay, welcome to the second of our Ask Me Anything series. This time with another MVP. I was joking with you earlier. I was going to try to mispronounce your name as many times as possible during this session. I think the first time I met you, I wanted to say it was Laze, but why don't you introduce yourself to the people, give them the real pronunciation?
Thank you, Drew. So my name is Laze Janev. Everybody mispronounces it, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's usually mispronounced. If you do not mispronounce it, you don't know me. Just don't call me lazy. Just don't do that. It has happened previously multiple times. Nothing to worry about. How is it going, Drew?
It's going great. It's great to have you here. I don't think we've seen each other since probably MVP Summit last year.
I don't think so. Yeah, I tried to wind down also a little bit my traveling, as we talked a little bit earlier. We're both not on the summit that is happening.
Yeah, we're in kind of conference season, and we're both taking a little bit of a reprieve in different parts of the world.
Yeah, it was a little bit difficult, so we tried to wind down and concentrate family and a lot of work, honestly, because this traveling, it's not helping us to work, right? We just cannot focus.
That's true. And a lot of conferences here in the US, that would be a long way for you to travel for those who aren't familiar. I thought you were actually the only MVP. I looked up today. There's 8 MVPs in North Macedonia. Is that correct?
Oh, there might be, but I'm the only one in the Dynamics area. But there are some other MVPs from Azure side. There is Entra side, but in Dynamics area or business application, it's only me for now. I hope that we were going to change that soon, maybe, hopefully. There are a lot of actually engagement in this area. There's so many people working in the CRM area, F&O. There's also Navision, Business Central now, and there are a lot of people. Still, people are trying. So hopefully we will get some new MVPs soon. So hopefully.
Absolutely. I see in the chat someone said we should call you Laser. I agree. I think that's a better pronunciation.
Jonas, it's always him. He's always managed to come from somewhere. Okay, Laser.
Has to. Well, so today I kind of have 3 categories that I put the questions we've gotten into, and then we'll see what other new ones come up as we go along. But we have kind of a section on business performance analytics, one of the solutions you've worked with quite a lot and specialize in. A section on just D365 and AI ERP in general, the advancements there, your thoughts there, and then more of like a career MVP type of category, more questions around careers and technology and things like that. So we kind of split them up. Do you have a preference what we start with?
No, just shoot, man. Anyway, just let's the conversation flow.
Fly from the hip. All right, I like it. Yeah, okay. Well, since we're in conference season, we were talking about that. Let's maybe start there. I know it's tough finding good content at a lot of these conferences. You've spoken at a lot of them all over the world. I've met you here in the US. You've spoken at Dynamics Minds in Europe. What do you think makes a good conference for attendees looking to kind of make the next step, whether they're an end user or a partner?
Well, for me personally, I try to enroll into areas where I'm not really confident about, just trying to expose myself to new stuff, especially we F&O guys really like a legacy type of US X++ or nothing in these heavy LM processes. So I really try to expose myself into like Microsoft Fabric. I love Microsoft Fabric, like Power BI. Even before Fabric became, I just tried to mingle around. Like years ago, we started this monthly podcast that say here's what's new in Power by AI. I didn't have a clue what is new, but I just started to work. It's this organic start to work because when we moved to the cloud world in F&O, then we were able to create these embedded reports, right? And then one thing bring to another. Hey, this is actually cool. This is bring a real value to the business. Some of these small hacks you can do. Of course, there are much smarter people than me in that area, right? But at least you start to enroll and start to read every month. So there are passionate people everywhere. And then I would start to move a little bit to the Power Platform just to explore how it is there. It turned out quite good. So I had a lot of experience in DualWrite. I was really passionate about that solution. I was on the conference I think it was in Atlanta 2019 when they announced it. And I was like, oh my God, this is a deal breaker. Then everything went to hell. We know how that experience went. But I do like this different kind of possibilities, not to get stuck in our world. In 2016, I was doing training for Microsoft on day one when they announced F&O at that stage, which was IX7 still. And I saw it as a writing. Then if you're an F&O developer, you're not a Dynamics AX developer. Now you're like a cloud. You need to understand your whole stack. You need to understand your Azure cloud. You need to understand Power Platform and what is it. So, and some people refused it, but I liked it a lot. So I tried to expose myself to that kind of a content in conferences. So I was, I think it was last year where Color Cloud happened in Hamburg. It's the first time that conference were organized by Matt. It's a great guy, amazing guy, but it's very CRM Power Platform. And I just went there. I think I was the only one who was from F&O side. And the people that came from that area, they're all like, hey, what is new this? What is about F&O? How can I plug in? Because they're coming from the other side. Let's say they're Power Platform, say, I was working on this project. How can I expose? And I will ask them my questions. So I think like really try to expose yourself to things where you don't feel outside of the comfort zone, right? So I did the Color Cloud, Nordic Summit, I did the CTP in Tallinn, interesting conference, right? These kind of interesting guides. I went to a Dynamics user group in Norway, Oslo, when 90% of the content was in Norwegian. It was like what I'm doing here. But I came just to share my experiences in how Microsoft Fabric and Dynamics, they work together. What are the, a couple of options. Everyone has like pros and cons. So I like them all, right? Some of them, as I said, there is a Norwegian, it's very local content, but then you get exposure to people. And some of them, the things that you're going to share, like in 3 slides, the things that I show, some of them like mind blown, and some are not going to agree with you. Some will say, yes, I would like to continue in this. So it always depends, but really trying to get into a different kind of mindset. There is also some, this year, first time I did a Dynamics user group. So with the guys, with Micha, if you know, from the Dynamics Minds conference. So he organized like a regional, I would say, entity, and me and him organized for first time in Macedonia Dynamics user group. I think it was a great success. We had like 120 people which attended. Yeah, the dean of the university of the IT was our sponsors. We had a big room all day Saturday night, and it was 15th of February, the day after Valentine's. So there were a lot of drunk young people that came to our conference, I think. But I liked it. So my goal was there not to present, just to share these small slots, but small slots. Everything was free, and everything was the point just to provide voice to people that have never done this, right? Usually just to provide them, hey, here's how these things work, share your knowledge. And some of those sessions were honestly very, very good, like amazing people. They are doing amazing stuff. They're creating their whole ISV solutions. They're really trying to give something and to show here is what I'm passionate about, what I created, either functional, technical level. So I think that a lot of things are happening. And now this year, I think Convergence is happening. You saw that?
Yep.
In December in Miami, so a lot of people getting excited. I know my wife got excited. I'm going with you. I don't know if I will be going to that also. I'm a little bit tiring for these long haul travels, to be truly honest. I was in Nordic Summit, I think a couple of weeks ago. Very cool conference. There will be something locally in Serbia we have in the next month, so I will try to do that. I should be going to Lisbon, the RAS Dynamics platform. That will be the first. Yeah, quite cool content. I like people. We're all geeks there. People think people. I don't know what they think. They were doing some partying, but we're actually geeking out and fighting about different kind of experiences, maybe positive and negative experience with different technologies, right? Already registered for the MVP Summit, so hopefully we go there in March, right?
Yeah.
That was
I think
experience.
I think that's a good reminder to a lot of folks. It's not just these major, large, expensive conferences
Right.
that you can learn from and network from and gain from. There's a lot of local events. There's a lot of free events and content out there. People willing to spread the knowledge, to educate, to support. So that's great to hear that even in Macedonia we have user groups now. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Seeing
and
that.
you know how it's now that the summit is happening in Orlando, and I remember the last big US, I think it was in Atlanta, there were like 20,000 people or some of 10,000 people. And it's not very, it's almost impossible to meet people. It's so big, there's so many sessions, it's just, you cannot meet anyone. It's very, I don't know, sterile or somewhere. I like this very a little bit closed, a little bit more, compact event. So you almost immediately going to bump like to 20 people that you have either never met or you have met for a long time. So that is a little bit more. It has a bigger vibe to me. It's quite.
Agreed. So you mentioned being a dynamics trainer.
Yeah.
Is there if you had like one approach or one piece of advice for creating training content, creating a training program for an ERP implementation? These are complex projects a lot of times.
Right.
Well, what would that be? You did it for a really long time successfully. So what is kind of your general guidance for a training program?
That's an amazing question, honestly. I think something you should not start really from. So I started really to be trainer for technical, developer training, like introduction trainer, and then we went advanced. Then we went to LCS. It was literally, the program was called LCS implementation because nobody knew what is LCS is. That like 2016, it was out. I mean, LCS existed even in IX 2012, but nobody used it. And this is now the default, right? For every new project, you have to use it. So how it goes, this all LLM process, how it connects with your code. So what I try actually to do is to be more, let's say, more unique, to be more personalized instead of. I remember when we did for Microsoft a lot of training, so they were going to give you a bunch of slides, and at the beginning it was do not move from this frame. This is your frame, you have to move. And it was so boring, like people falling asleep because there was a lot of slides. You had to cover them. So you're sitting in a room and you have like 60 slides that you have to cover them. Nobody cares. Like nobody cares about that. And then they relaxed it a bit and they said, okay, you can create some of your stuff. And then I just went, okay, let's go directly to step 10. And if you guys are missing something, just let's catch up. Come to me, join me, and you will see this is very easy. Instead of covering everything like building steps, most of the people are already at step 10 or 12 or 11. They just want to reach there. Or if it's a technical topic, I just try to sometimes to provide the scenarios. A lot of times Microsoft tries to do that. Sometimes it's not successful, but like the customer wants to implement, I don't know, let's say an embedded dashboard. They want to see how many sales order there needs to be paid. It's embedded in Dynamics. So this was like 10 years ago. How we are doing this. So now let's step back and see what are the different elements and why we try to achieve this is because this is our business goal, not to do something because it's existing, but because we need to achieve something that the business expects us to do, right? Yep. So that was usually something. I did also a lot of questioning for the exams, what were MB 500?
Yes. MB 500? Okay, I was going to say which exams specifically.
500, we did a lot of those. So a couple of times, and it got a little bit boring after a while. So, but
now people know where to send their complaints about questions they don't.
Oh my God, I can send so many things under NDA, but I think that's why I stopped doing it because I had a lot of complaints and let's say loud conversation with people, how the questions were formed, and are we trying to, find the reason how to crash them for them to lose it, or we're trying to learn people. So many exams were, or so many questions were sometimes like, hey, we need to reach this point, but that point is useless because it's something by heart. Nobody in IT you learns things by heart. Why do you need it? I think in any topic at this day of age, right? You need to learn by understanding. So that's why I didn't like it. But I tried to see how that word works. It was very formal, it was very structured, And I can work in that, but usually I try to find my own way of expressing even questions, even if
Yep.
possibility of questions, right?
Yep, absolutely. So being a trainer, you have content people have to consume to learn. Presenting at conferences, it's another way to consume. Jonas wants to know, do you have any podcasts you recommend people subscribe to?
We're right. So
he didn't say what to type. You could really answer this any way you want.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can say literally about anything. Some car podcast. I heard something about Vice News yesterday. But podcasts. There are many. I try not to listen any more podcasts about the technology or what is cool. I know, Gustav and Johan has this, I think it's monthly podcast of what is new and stuff. It was interesting. Now I try to hear something. So Steve Mordew, he has a podcast, which is quite cool,
Yep.
but he talks about the age of AI, which is now, it is even boring. Everybody talks about that. But there are people that are actually very, very good at that, right? Like, what does it mean this for our business application? How, and we can see some impact of that. I know I personally can. My clients are trying even to implement some automations now that are at the moment helping their business users, but at some stage, maybe 2, 3, 5 years later, maybe those people are not going to be needed anymore for some of those business activities, right? So I think those kind of things are something that make more impression on my side. I wouldn't say that I listen something very religiously. I try to find an interesting topic, and it's always LinkedIn, right? People sharing stuff and commenting stuff, engagement. I like engagement. If there is engagement, that means something cool happen there, right? Sorry, Jonas, I don't have something I'm not very subscribed religiously to anything. I don't have time, to be truly honest.
So maybe before we switch to some more technical questions, I'll have one follow-up question. So you said you like engaging. I think one of the first things I noticed is you are very direct in your feedback. You are not afraid to share your opinion.
Right.
I don't honestly know much about Macedonian culture. I don't know if that is common. Some people like that, some don't. Where did that come from? Where have you
I
always been that way?
I I might be. I don't know, man. Yeah. At some point, you just say this is not worth it. Maybe because I work for such a long time independently, and so many times, with this business, usually we work with big corporations. In the big corporations, there's so many people try to go on the career ladder, and you see so many funny things that people are just, what they're doing. They try to persuade their boss that they do something smart, or they're laughing to a stupid joke. And I don't care about that. I hate this artificial behavior and activity. Of course, you have to have your respect about people, right? But I really hate these phony things. And because you're independent, it's really relieving you for that. Yeah, so many times people have told me I remember like 6-7 years ago, I'm creating strategy for multiple instances across world, and how this, different kind of production environment, how we can maintain the code and configuration, like the whole platform and how that will deploy. And these guys, the CEO, say, oh, if this doesn't go, your head is going out and you're going to do this and that. This really corporate kind of thing. On the end, because a couple of months ago, his head, I think they fired him immediately because he was not doing his job sufficiently enough, and then try to reflect that on everybody around him. It's probably not only me. He told that kind of attitude to different people. Instead, I just want to be honest. If I don't know anything, I really don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what is this. It's not in my area. I've heard about this, but if I know something which I have explored in details and had sleepless nights, I have been painstakingly suffered, like I have now a support ticket and they're typing me to resolve it from Microsoft. I knew that experience, and I really would like to tell you that you are maybe wrong. You should not be doing something in that area. I don't know from where it's coming. I think it's more personal than, let's say, a regional opinion. There are many, I think, from every area. There are people that will be even more open than me or less. But I cannot point to a time where this just, let's say, suddenly happened. Maybe I'm born that way.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I think there's certain, there's a lot of pros to it. You're clear up front around, your expectations and understanding. I think in our career, I think it really helps get everyone on the same page as far as objectives.
Right.
When working with clients, and if we're shooting too much kind of lingo and trying to soften all the words, what's the point? There's going to be an end goal that we all have to get to. So making sure we're all aligned is important.
Exactly like you said. I'm a pragmatic guy. Not that I'm not saying that something needs to go everything technical background, but I'm pragmatic. I need to know if something needs to happen in a corporate ladder, something a budget needs to approve or a manager needs to do it. But then let's put some frames around that, right? Let's just not put, oh, this needs to be done. Okay, then who is doing it, when and how, and if you're not doing it, then I'm going to do it, and you're gonna ask your boss later. So I just want to put it that our goal is to help the business. Right, that is our goal. Well, we started all as a technology, and a lot of times still happens that we're like, oh, this IT geek guy is going to install a new software on my computer so I can do my job. Where it's more about that, it's not that technology goes in the background. It's more about we're going to empower you to be free so that your job is more seamless, so you can do more concentrated stuff. So not you're going to enter or writing down from a piece of paper, writing down some stuff on your computer.
Yep. All right, so you said the buzzword before, AI. We have to talk about it. It's pretty much all we talk about these days. F&SC specifically, what do you think differentiates Microsoft and what they're doing in the ERP space with AI integration, Copilot, and agents compared to other ERP platforms?
So there is a lot of hype there. If you hear their Salesforce, they're doing amazing. They're doing everything is automatic, and we fired 5,000 people because everything is go to automatic. With in the truth, it's probably some Power Automates or some that kind of flows which are executing some activities. It is too early though. I don't think something will break down. Probably this AI bubble will burst, and the people that are on the top will left, like the dot-com area, dot-com exploded like in the 90s, something like 2000s, and many company collapsed, but the one they survived, oh my God, they did well, right? So something like that, I imagine something like that will happen. What Microsoft is very good is, there's an ecosystem. Like this ecosystem, I know the Copilot is so boring, and that word is always thrown. I think even the internal, everybody is tired from it. But the ecosystem is there. Like, either you're on F&O, or you're in Vision, you're Power Platform, or you're in Fabric. It is a couple of clicks or connectors so that you can achieve either ingest your data or work with your data or create some flow or create some automation. That is there. Now, is there properly presented maybe on a meaningful way? I would say not. I still think that there are many other companies that are doing their marketing bit much worse. Salesforce, I know for a future, to step back, that people that work for Salesforce that are now trying to work with Microsoft Cloud, they say Salesforce is not possible. Every presentation they gave us, it's pixel perfect. It's like everything is sharp. The demos are created from start to finish. Everything is so sharp when you present it that there is no possibility of something going wrong. In our world, in Dynamics, when you're doing a demo and something goes, the demo got something can go wrong because you have this, hey, here's your platform, here is your Contoso database. Now go figure it out, right? It's more about giving you the possibility to do it, which is good and bad, right? So good is that you have this a lot of possibilities, but at the same time, people don't know what they're doing. Everybody's just clicking buttons, connecting stuff, exposing the data into some public domain, right? Some public chatbot, which is very bad, very bad, and that will go worse. But Microsoft is very good in this strategy. I think the platform is very good. I've created some, some stuff that are amazingly for the full service kernel. Like you have a customer insights with connected with your AI engine in Azure, which is creating your marketing campaign, and then it's ingesting, so I can pick up that in CRM, and then I push it to F&O that goes down, and then in my PPP, I can do my analytics, and even with write back, I can bring it back to F&O, and those reports from F&O can be in BPA, and the BPA can be embedded back to BPP. So this whole user story is just amazing. But you don't have out of the box for Microsoft. You need to think about that. And that is a lot of work, right? It's not something that it's easy. So in that segment, I think they're really good. On marketing, they're terrible. We know Microsoft, they're terrible in naming. Just see how many Xbox they have with the same name, Xbox Nexus. No, I don't think even they know what they name their products. It's just terrible, terrible naming strategies on marketing. But on platform level, I think they are doing quite good. And from customers that I talked about recently, they really started to, or let's say prospect, maybe not customers, but they say, hey, this is all good, but the thing that you told me now, tell me how I can do it in my Copilot, because all of my management now needs to be in AI enriched. So company wants to be embedding AI into daily processes, whatever they are, right? You're a purchasing manager, or you're maybe key account manager or sales, it always starts from there. It's not going to be a sales clerk that going to do AI a daily task. Well, maybe some post functionality, but this is more about drudgery to sometimes to update data or to create campaigns in marketing. And I think there's a lot of possibility there, right?
Yep.
We have, for my customer, we have went live with supplier communication agent a couple of weeks ago. It's going really well. It's going really well. There are two scenarios there. The first scenario was to create an email, a draft email. We went, of course, when you go in, set of people, start small, not to do, but it cannot create any damage. It's still, this is the second step, which is assisting to the person. It's not something that you can still set it up to go automatically, but there still no trust. But can you imagine it that the AI creating emails for 1 year and it's good enough, and then you can create some templates or some defaults and you can attach. And after you have approved thousands of those emails, it's just the next step. You know what it is? The next step is just auto send everything, and then I will look it up if something looks better. Then that is the next step. Now, the second scenario is already live, which we're testing it, which is to create, to update the purchase order dates and values, which is a little bit more tricky because now it's actually doing real updates on your transactional data. It's a little bit tricky. There was also a bug there from Microsoft, which was not addressed, which they addressed it. But yeah, they're getting there, especially on F&O side. The new MCP server, which we cannot talk here, it's still under NDA. Jared demoed it a couple of times. Some very limitless, just got access like 2 weeks ago. I think next month will be announced. It is the bomb, man. It's just a different level. It is a different level. It's different level of thinking and a different level of working. Instead of creating this customization of how your business action should learn, it is AI could go through your code, can go through your forms automatically, and auto updates itself, auto updates and expose your stuff. So if you create some customization, it will understand what you're talking about, and it will create a logic from it to understand your code dynamically, which is, I think, very, very cool. Very cool.
You talk about rolling out supplier communications agents slowly with that client, which is a good approach. What about the concern some clients have with AI and scalability? Hey, how much power is this going to be using? What's the cost of this going to be if we start rolling it out to all of our employees? What's your recommendation for those who have that concern?
Yeah, so on consumption based on power, on energy, I cannot help that. We know that AI is just the worst for that. It's literally the worst scenario for the environment, right? You remember like 5-6 years ago, all of these companies, like not only Microsoft, but Google, Meta, it's like, we are going 100% sustainability, all of our data center, it's all done now, all clean. They're consuming 5 times more than they consumed 5 years ago. Is because the AI, it's known how much power it consumes, right? And I think for that one, it really needs to come from regulatory experience. Companies can create their own screens, possibilities, but it needs to be regulated. In Europe, for example, I'm not sure about US, but in Europe, we also have a carbon tracker on many sites, which means that your products that you say needs to locate, say, hey, in order for this product to be produced or shipped, maybe even if you're, if you're just reselling stuff, it needs to say, in order for this product to arrive, this is how much carbon this costed. You're accumulating carbon because transportation, is it a ship, is it a plane, is it maybe a product from wood, is it, metal, steel, it produces a lot of CO2s, so those are numbers that are accumulated. There is a platform about that. And then you immediately know how much that maybe not cost, but how much, it can be connected to a cost, right? Now it's like, maybe it's on the start, it's informative. This product consists so much carbon, but you can also attach it directly to a cost. If it produces so much carbon, then it will be more expensive, then people will not buy it. That is how it's connected. So on the carbon, I think it has to be regulation. So if you say that a message costed, or an agent action to send an email, right? It costed me so much grams or kilograms in carbon dioxide, then it needs to say, this is how much your consumption, AI consumption costed in CO2, then it's a different level. I think they need to rethink the whole energy and game about it. On the cost of real costs, like money costs in consumption, which is still not clear, right? We have now this in Microsoft Cloud, the Copilot credits. It was much worse 1 year ago. That's what I can say. Now there is a clarity. It's not too bad because there was no possibility to even predict something. Microsoft has publicly, I don't know if you have seen this Copilot calculator, which can tell you how many messages you have, and it will tell you this activity will consume, let's say, 1,000 credits, Copilot credits, and you have $200 cost you 25K credits, something like that. So you can map it to a real cost scenarios. I think that is still a work in progress. Now, why we're doing this, if you remember, we started with licenses, and not only in F&O, but also in all of the SaaS applications. We started with licenses. It's like, hey, it is a SaaS, you just pay fixed price per user per month, and you don't care. And now people say, okay, it's a lot of storage. Now it's consumption, but like how much capacity you have. Yeah, it's a license, but it's also capacity. But going forward, I think it will be also consumption based. Imagine you have an activity like you're activating 20 licenses, but then you have 5,000 agents doing a lot of job, either orchestrated or not. They don't have to be orchestrated, but there can be many agents. So you can set up your updating of your sales order. I can set up my updates of purchase order, another agent to create my loads for the warehouse, So on the end, on end users, you don't have a lot of real like UI activity, but in the background, there is a lot of stuff happening actually. So they have to think of a way. It's like, hey, what I think Mark from Salesforce called it is how did he call it? I think the digital. How did he call it? He called it a name. Never mind. But it's a digital labor, right? He called it digital labor, which is there is some. It's not a labor, but it is a business activity happening, and they have to create some kind of a business model. At the moment, those are these credits, but it's either there were messages, right? There were messages, now they're called credits, or they're tokens. But on the end, we need to think about a unit of processing power. So something like in order for me to do this activity, I used 100 units, right? 100 units or 5 units, or I don't know, or thousands, depending, in order to process something automatic. And then you can map it, that cost me $1,000. Now, how much is this person costing you? Does this person cost you $1,000 for that? Is it more? Is it less? That is usually how these things they're mapping. Right? In the end, enterprise want to make money and save money. So either they cut people, or maybe they just stop hiring new people. They will let some people retire and not rehire new people, try to automate the existing stuff from people that are retiring. Today, just it went, how is it now called? They renamed it again. I don't know if you remember, it was called Copilot for Finance. Then it was the Finance Agent, and now it's Microsoft 365 for Finance. As I said, Microsoft is just terrible at names. Imagine they naming your kid, right? So now I think today just went live about these variances and matching. There are a lot of value there. And we have, I think, what we have there for expense management now, some timesheets management, it can bring some value. I cornered a little bit Microsoft there about that. There was a prospect, the customer said, I have 7,000 contractors. I need 7,000 licenses for them to submit a timesheet or expense. It's just, they're not working. Not all of them are working all the time, right? There are maybe 100 in a month. So I want to dynamically rewrite. Say, yeah, but you have the agent, but you need to have a license and an agent. But if we move truly to the AI world, then you say, I just pay for the consumption. So you don't care how many contractors you have. You can have 100,000 for what you care. And maybe only a 5% or 10% from them are active. And then you're going to pay to Microsoft only for the consumption of how many of your contractors process this month. And that's even more democratic then you will see that you pay only for the things that you use, because a lot of companies try to also, even on the licensing based model, to utilize, are all of these 500 people really need the license? Have they all logged in? Even if they logged in, have they done anything, or they just logged into the system, right? That is always, it's always a fight.
It is. It'll be interesting to see how the licensing piece shifts as we evolve even more. But Jonas, he appears to be our best friend today, so he has another question for you. When discussing AI and Copilot with your European customers, do you get any pushback regarding data sovereignty? And if so, how do you handle it?
I think at the beginning there was a lot of questions about this, but now people are more educated. Companies, I would say, not people, but companies are more educated, and there is also the fear of missing out. So they see that their competition are doing something, maybe they're marketing something, they have done some automation. So companies are really jumping on the bandwagon to do something, because if they miss out, maybe then it will be too late to actually do something, right? It will be too late if you're not jumping. You need to have something like the supplier communication agent. This is such a basic stuff. It just generates an email. It's a draft email. It's not even sending it for you, right? So it's more about slowly changing their mindset. I wouldn't say that I have seen a lot of that. It was 2 years ago. Yes, there was a lot of conversation about that, but now it is less and less. I see a lot, Microsoft and their pledge for the responsibility of AI, just send the public documentation, and it really works. Actually, I think they're really doing a good work about that. Compare that to OpenAI. I think they just don't care. They're going to implement what they announced this week or last week. It was like they were, wow, erotica. Now they're going to be your one-stop shop for everything. Microsoft is doing a lot of this good work that you can choose where is your data residency. Bigger companies are anyway across the globe, so their data is always fetching. It's more about, is it living in their company? Is it living their tenant? In my case, I think they're mostly frustrating for spear attacks, for phishing attacks. That is more terrible, honestly, because if they got someone access to a person that has big access into the company, then they literally have everything. If they don't need to have, they cannot hack Microsoft. That is more difficult. Not that it's not possible, but let's say it's more difficult than creating a spear attack to some management person.
All right, so switching topics a little bit, I mentioned one of the categories was going to be BPA. So something you've probably at least talked to a lot of customers about, even if you haven't implemented tons, but I'm sure you have as well. So let's talk about what are some of the common pitfalls companies have when implementing business performance analytics and how they can avoid them.
So usually it is when they say, hey, this is going to resolve. I have these reports and they're just install it, click the button, install, and going to resolve my all of my requirements for the business. That is almost never, not almost, it's never the case. It's really not. This is just maybe how I show it is like a bedrock on which you can build upon it, right? You have your basic semantic models which are going to be maintained, they're going to be supported, and they're going to be extended further down the line. But it's like, especially for new implementations, it's like a jump start to your reporting stream. If you're starting a new stream and you're a new project, and you know that you need to implement reports, why starting from scratch? Why building? So many times they try to rebuild something that they have connected to AS400 or to SAP or to something else. They try to replicate the same reports. Instead, it's like try to focus off, see what is there, extend it directly with Fabric with your custom data, custom tables, other sources, and just build upon that. It's more to bring value on a faster way, and on the same time, it is supported by Microsoft. It's their own first-time solution. If something fails to refresh, you can create a P1 ticket and they have to support you. They have to deliver and provide you the reason, a whole RCA about why did it fail, what was the reason. And I think that is something that is very, very important for me. I like BPA a lot. I worked with it a very long time, also by accident. They're now announcing they're going to, in this very incremental changes. At the moment, it's like 2 times in a day, which for most users it's enough. For some companies, it's not because they need more, which is fine. But they're going, I think, until New Year, all of the companies will be moved to this almost 15 minutes refresh, which is like you're always going to have your data always on the top tier, right? It's not just to reflect the data, but the whole data set to be refreshed, which is so cool. I think you'll have immediately all your data. And again, it's refreshable. They will allow you to add your custom fields. So if you have your sales order methods, almost everyone is extending their sales orders, right? Or their purchase orders, and your custom fields are missing. You can add them to the same model. You can have your data, and you don't have to build something from scratch. And by the way, all of those reports you can edit. It's not like everything is written down. That's the thing in the Microsoft strategy in the platform. Everything is extendable, like literally everything. You have your copilots, sure, but you can extend them. You can duplicate, you can create. Here it is. It's not more about here is this product and here's how I'm going to use it. It's more about here is how an example, but do what you want to do with it, right? Be creative, try to do something more.
Yeah. I think we have enough time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions.
Sure.
One of the things I see always being a challenge for companies in the analytical space is aligning executive, I think, strategy or executive objectives with the analytical piece and tying the business and the actual processes into those objectives. It often seems like we're battling against each other. Do you have recommendations for helping companies stay aligned for that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's an amazing topic. You need a global sponsor and overview about this. It's always critical path, as you said in the previous question, is like what are usually the biggest issues. their fragmentation. It's usually fragmentation when everybody tries to do their own thing. Everybody is trying to implement their own vision, and there is not a collection. Instead of usually you should a little bit step back and try to see what we have now and what is our most important for our business. There are also standards above there, and for warehousing, there's a lot of standards in the reports of how you need to achieve your KPIs. Just look it up and see what needs to be there. Product cost allocation, there are many standards about how that looks like and what you will like to do. Just try to be technology agnostic in the end. Try to see what are your business goals, not try to mix the technology to achieve something instead of like, hey, here is what we would like to see. Let's not mix our existing reports or maybe another technology that you have used W for some view or quick. What was that? Quick read share? What are people using there? So many times they hear about that. We have quick reports or what they call them. Oh no, that is so not a product. But it's usually about, hey, guys, what we try to achieve here. Do we want to have traffic lights? Do we want to have KPIs? Do we want to have implementation? So many times they are concentrated about this technology does not allow me to have a real-time data. I want to have the data at literally the same time when I create the record, and it needs to be in the report at the same time. Literally 100% of the time, that's not true. Literally 100%. It's more about I was able to achieve this in my legacy technology because they were connecting directly to the SQL database, and doing some database selection. They were able to show some queries, but almost never the business goal is never just to see either some transaction that is created real time. It's more about maybe a transaction that is going in a wrong way, or maybe a transfer order in the warehouse that is not properly handled, that someone needs to be notified or handled in a more urgent way. I would say that needs to give more attention. Maybe it doesn't even have to be a report. Maybe it needs to be a business event, and someone's phone should explode, or an SMS should arrive. Sometimes that works better because maybe Wi-Fi is catchy, and an SMS should arrive and say, okay, this is something that we need to take care of it because this is an important load. It needs to be shipped by 3 p.m. so that it arrives our store or our customer, something like that. And I would like them just to step back and analyze what is good for the business, and don't think about the technology. The technology, everybody can handle technology. Honestly, it's a little bit maybe oversimplifying, but there are a lot of very, very good people, like technology people, much better than me and you, Drew. There are people that are very good geeks, and they will, if you give them a correct task, they will do it properly and handle it. But instead of overcompensate, let's try to resolve what is most important for your business.
Yep, totally agree. Yeah, aligning, I think, on, like you said, the major objective, regardless of the technology, and then solve it after that. All right, time for one more. Do we want another BPA question, or maybe a question about MVPs? We have a few.
Sure.
All right. Well, Jonas asked one that's somewhat similar to another one we had. His was, what are top 3 recommendations for someone that has an ambition of becoming an MVP? We had a similar write-in question about advice that you would give to someone who wants to transition into more of a community-facing type role, like MVP activities, conference speaking, etc. So maybe let's use that one. Advice for aspiring MVPs.
Yeah, I saw this guy posted like a meme, which was very cool. He says, MVPs in our days, and he said like an image with these strong guys like in a gym. They know everything and all the technology, and MVPs now are like prima donnas and stuff. Which, when you think about it, probably yes. On some level, there are some people. I know for sure that I don't know everything. I know much smart people than me in the MVP sphere, right? In my domain, like all of us have a specific domain. I cannot be an MVP in Power Platform because very limited scope. But in our area, like I remember Martin dropped like 15 years ago when discussed with a guy, which was he's a very good friend of mine. We talked so much. We worked together in a project. He is an amazing, right? But you have to think about like 5 times before you ask your question in the forum, because you will get a very appropriate action. Try to formulate your question better, right? Yep. So how do you become, what is an MVP? I mean, there are many paths there. I did not try to become an MVP. True story. This is not like, hey, I was working this, just organic things started to come. I had some posts and then I started to go to conferences. I was speaking actually for a long time, maybe not on LinkedIn on this bigger conference, but I'm speaking from here and there for almost 20 years. Like internally in company events, I was first trainer in my company. Before I worked Dynamics, I was in a company called eSchool, which is the biggest program in my country, which educated all of the teachers. All of them got computers in every classroom, and now they didn't know what to do with them. So there was a big, like a training possibility. So I was like trainer for trainers. I was the boss of my father. True story. First of my job, he was a teacher, and I came there and tried to tell them how to use their PCs in order for the school program. So that came a little bit organic to speak. I made so many gaffes, so many mistakes on the first 100 times when I spoke with people, and you're still going to do it, right? There is not a correct way. What I don't like, I can say, is that some people try to overcompensate with quantity instead of quality, because our world is growing, the business application are growing, there are so many features, so there is a lot of content like, hey, supplier communication agent is out, and you just follow the guideline and you record a video or you create a post, and it's the same what is in the documentation. I don't see the value of that. There is also a post where they say, hey, this agent is out, I've tried it, but here is the tricky scenario. Here is where you're gonna start, how you're gonna set up. Try to be careful in this. This is what might require an extra license or maybe a security edition. So those kind of things brings a lot of value, I think, for everyone in the community. Is like, hey, I was stuck on this for many times. Thanks for helping me out. It really brings me a value in my daily life. So if you try to create something, either it's a content, it can be a recording, try to be something that is from your own experience instead of just copying something that is out there for everyone, right? Just trying to create something that is unique. If you have resolved a VM, how to update some VM, which we've struggled for many years now with the UDs, is a little bit better situation. Yeah, try to explain your default scenario. I would say if you're a more speaking guy like me, I speak to many conferences. Just go there and share your knowledge, mix with people. I tried also like in the back to train a lot of people, like not to train them officially, but to give materials. And with my MVP, licenses that we have and access, just create a dummy account that they can test, because it's different when you learn on the portal. It's different when you have something which you can, it's a test environment you can destroy, you can create a real life and to see how it looks like. I think some people really appreciated that because it is sometimes difficult to get your hands on, with your own account, which with your access is not limited, it's 24/7. So that is how I try to motivate. Not everybody is going to do that, right? People think that it's, I'm going to learn this after school, but if you don't make the rules, you need to learn yourself. So if you really would like to be an MVP, I think there are many scenarios. There are so many people that provide such a good content online with their own experiences. Like everybody knows Andre. I think I have been witness and tried to help him out, but he's very methodical and tries to create a blog post. When you try to create a post, is sometimes try to read it like you are clueless, never touched this topic in your life, and you try to say, oh, okay, I haven't not seen this anything. I'm tabula rasa. Can I read this blog post and achieve the goal? What is set up there to do, And what is the difference? how is compared? Do I use my Power Automate connector? Do I use this connector? What is the difference? Is there licensing currencies? Is there performance issue? That is something that really, I think, brings a lot of value for people, at least.
I think that's great advice. And everyone does know Andre. I think he sent some pictures. He was at NASA while he was in Florida this week at the conference doing his usual
He's there.
navigation.
Yeah.
It's late where you are, so we appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for everything you do for the community, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Hey, thank you very much, Drew, for the invitation. I'm really disappointed I was not able to talk with your daughter today. Maybe the next time.
So her question would have been, if she was here, she's 3, she would have said, what are you being for Halloween?
Yeah, which is, let's say, very important topic, right?
Yeah.
It's a very, very important topic. Is her plan is already wrapped up? Is it all fixed now, or we still have?
She's going to be a unicorn.
Oh,
second year in a row.
It's the best. It's the best. Of course, she knows.
Yep.
Hey, thank you, Drew. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.